Hello, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome. Since 2016, I've been answering your questions, giving advice and inspiration to countless gamers. Here, you can ask questions in the comments and get your own videos as an answer. So I encourage you, enjoy by all means, but come back to visit with your friend, the Dungeon Tutor. Hello friends, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome! Today, we are in day 12 of RPGaDay in 2025. And that means today we have a topic, paths. And paths are certainly interesting. Definition, it's a geographical feature that is demarked to make transport easier from point A to point B. So it could be a clear road, it could be an area that the underbrush has been worn out or trampled so that it's easy to go through. It could be a track, it could be a trail, it could be a stretch of road in any grade, gravel or concrete or what have you. A path is something that generally makes things easier, and in many cases it's something that makes travel possible. If you have a vehicle, say, you're not just legging it, paths may be essential. Try taking a cart through a forest. Good luck. But paths make travel possible for things like that. And they make travel a lot easier, too. If you are following a trail, usually that means your possibility of getting lost is nearly nil. As long as the trail goes someplace that you want to go, you're not going to get lost. You're on the path. You're on a trail. And that's great. That's the literal definition of what it is. However, in terms of gaming often is involved in storylines and story elements. So, if you are talking about a path in a role-playing game, it could be the means you get from encounter to encounter to encounter as well. And when we talk about giving players options on where they're going and guidance on where to go, oftentimes we describe that as offering them a path forward, or sideways, or backwards, or whatever. Whichever direction your particular path takes them, it's something that's generally offered, and the players can then choose to follow that path. Trouble often comes up when players eschew paths and decide to go on their own direction, which in a game with a comfortable game master who's not afraid of ad-libbing, or a richly realized world where any direction that you go, the game master knows what's waiting for you, that's not so much of an issue. But paths are often a vehicle that we use in games to help our players out. And in general, they're there to make the players have a better chance of having a good time. If you give a player a path, that's generally saying, hey, this is a direction that if you go forward, I have storyline prepared for you. I have things to happen. I have ways that you can have fun with the storyline going this direction. And that's perfectly cool. You can have false paths where they don't go anywhere good and that the players will have difficulty or a struggle. Hopefully not in playing the game, but the struggle is in character. Some sort of a dilemma or something that seemed like they were going in the right direction, but all of a sudden, nope, you're actually kind of caught for it, and that could be an interesting story element as well. But a path, in its very nature, is artificial. It's something that when you put your players in your world, you have to kind of create it. In a sandbox setting, there are few obvious paths. The players get the feeling that they can go anywhere and do anything in a really robust sandbox. If you drop the players, for instance, in the city of Greyhawk in the Dungeons & Dragons game, and you just plop them there in Oerth, in the city of Greyhawk, yeah, you might have a great map to show them the city. I have one. It's lovely, laid out, nicely, so the players can walk along the paths and they can look at the different buildings and things, and those exist, absolutely. Or if I pulled out my box set of Darkenhaven from GUI Cube, which, congratulations on winning an ENnie. They did, and that's cool. But if you were just dropped with your character right in the middle of the city, or somewhere in the city, interesting, there are paths, clearly, because there are roads. But roads aren't necessarily the same things as paths. You can be in an urban wilderness of sorts. And in Darkenhaven, there's so much detail and so many people, it can seem every bit as intimidating as being in a deep jungle. Because a lot of those people don't play nice. Even though there is law, even though there is order, there's still danger. And with all the not-so-random encounters that are available, it can get very interesting very quickly. But if I was going to drop you there and say, have fun, you might be overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed because where's your context? Where's a motivation? Where's your direction? Are you just pinballing randomly about whatever the game master decides your character sees? Kind of, yeah, in a lot of ways. Not having a path is kind of scary. And that's why it's an artificial construct. The game master comes up with these paths so that your players have something legitimate to pursue. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you look at a path and you see railroad flashing, those are the most obvious and unavoidable paths. A railroad gives you a direction to go through the adventure, but doesn't give you the option of altering your course. You are in it for the ride. That's a railroad. A path is, when you look that way, you see something of interest. Something that might appeal to you, or might dovetail into something you're personally interested in. If your character, for example, was we'll say a cleric, and I just isekai'd you to Zyathe, the GUI Cube magical world, and I put you in the city of Darkenhaven. And now your character is looking around, seeing a different world, but a lot of familiar things. You see people, you see several different races, as a matter of fact, walking around cheek to jowl. You see crowded streets, you see shops, you see taverns, inns. Okay. Assuming that common is common is common, you might even be able to read everything and go, okay, this is interesting. But where do you go? What do you do? What's the right way to go? A lot of people are always worried about what's the right thing to do. And sandboxes can feel really kind of unsatisfying because there's not necessarily a right way to go. There's just interesting things to do. But a path is artificial. A path is what you, the game master, put out for your players, and if they see it and recognize it for what it is, and they choose to go along it, it makes your job easier for telling a story. It makes their job easier because you're going to continue to feed them things that their characters will be interested in. Usually because the players should be interested in them and interested in having their characters walk that path. That is an important element to being a game master. It's maybe not the most crucial, but it is an important one, is creating solid paths to help your players and helping them to go along them and making the journey worth it as they go. If they do go along a path that you have put out, but there's no real payoff to it, what profit? So that's my suggestion. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's useful to you. But I am the Dungeon Tutor. Thank you for joining me. I hope you continue to join me through RPGaDay, which is going through this entire month. And I will be here for you next time. So I hope that between that next time and now, I hope that you, yes, you get a chance to roll some dice, to play some games, to have some fun, but stay safe, everyone. Until then next time, farewell.